t'es prête, rends les choses faciles
et sèche-moi ces larmes de crocodile.
The Peak Design 7-liter outdoor bag was made in tandem with all of Peak Design's outdoor bags. And these type of bags were made for photographers who like to be outdoors and put their camera bags into rough conditions. Cough, cough, landscape photographers. And luckily for me, my friend Drake lent me both the 7-liter and the 45-liter outdoor bag to test and review for you guys. So thank you, Drake. I appreciate it very much. And I've been on one shoot with the 7-liter bag, and I'm ready to give you guys my first impressions of this bag. And the 45-liter first impressions will be coming next week, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. And with that being said, let's start with the first major thing that I noticed about this bag when using the 7-liter, and talk about space efficiency first. Because a 7-liter by itself is just one big open space. And in order to actually have camera gear inside that is of course protected, you have to put the extra small camera cube in. And this does cause a bit of a space efficiency issue in my opinion. When you have the extra small camera cube in here, it essentially is less in terms of its carrying capacity than a 3-liter Peak Design B2 sling, which to me is kind of weird because this is a 7-liter bag, but in terms of how much camera you can carry, it's less than a 3-liter. So when you're comparing and using this bag especially, you can't really think of it as a 7-liter. When it comes to camera gear, you have to think of it more as a little bit less than a 3-liter. And a big reason for that is that when you have the camera cube inside, that camera cube actually does take up some space in the 7-liter. So you absolutely have to account for that. And if you do have the extra small camera cube outside of this bag, you obviously get a lot more space, but of course you can't put your camera gear in there. And when it comes to comparing the 3-liter versus these extra small and the 7-liter, I found that I'm able to fit a Z6 III and a 28-400 without a lens cap inside of the 3-liter, but it can't do the same with the 7-liter. However, I can fit a Z6 III and a 14-30 in here with slightly extra space. And one setup that I think is probably more apropos to this setup would be a Nikon Z30 and a 28mm and then an extra 50mm. So of course you can go about configuring this in a few different ways, but you do have to be mindful that this isn't necessarily meant for these big mirrorless cameras that are full frame with these long lenses. You generally want smaller, more lightweight gear to be able to fit comfortably inside of this bag and the extra small cube. And even though this extra small cube does take up quite a bit of space, there is actually a decent amount of space around the cube itself to be able to fit other things. Like for example, I have a Z6 III, and then I also have the 14-30, but I can also fit the filters on the other side of the camera cube. So you're able to really utilize all the extra space that's around the 7-liter. And additionally, there is quite a bit of storage inside of the 7-liter itself. There's even a zipper inside where you can put a lot of smaller items in there. We even have other compartments here like this front zipper that you can put other things in here. For example, for me, I just put my keys, but you can obviously put a bunch of other stuff in here as well. And then if we move to this back area here, we can also fit my Google Pixel 7 here very comfortably with probably more than enough space to fit a larger version. But something that I really like about this 7-liter is actually the external carry. I really like this mechanism a lot. This is far better than any external carry system that I personally use with Peak Design. I feel like these cords here, this drawstring is really nice because it just locks in really well. It doesn't move around a lot and it doesn't have a lot of give. Plus these anchors feel far more secure than any other external carry. I was even able to put a Peak Design travel tripod here with the case, and it felt very secure. I didn't feel like it was going to fall off at any time. And even though the extra small camera cube does take up quite a bit of space, the 7-liter works great inside of the entire Peak Design ecosystem. And yes, the extra small camera cube does take up quite a bit of space inside of the 7-liter, but it gives you some different options. For example, you can hot swap out the extra small camera cube for another, so you can have another set of gear very easily and very fast. And I actually think that this bag inside of a travel situation is absolutely amazing in terms of efficiency when it comes to space. Because what you could do is that you could take out this extra small camera cube, put it inside of your luggage, and then compress down this 7-liter, and it goes really, really small and compact. And then after, you can take off the strap on the 7-liter and then put all those things inside the luggage in an area that's much smaller and doesn't take up quite a bit of space. I think that setup is extremely useful in travel situations. Because for me, I love having a 3-liter sling with me whenever I go on travel. Usually for me, it's the Shimoda Action X30, and then I bring that 3-liter sling. However, it isn't the most efficient use of space because that 3 liter doesn't really compact down that much and you can't take out these straps, it's a little bit more difficult to take out with me on those type of shoots. But with this setup, because this sling compacts down so fast and so efficiently, I feel like it's just much more convenient to bring in those travel situations. Because now when you get to your location, you can simply take all those components out and assemble it into now a 7-liter sling that's really convenient and very easy to use. To me, that is where I'd probably use this sling the most, because I think in those situations, you want to be as lightweight and compact as possible, and this setup definitely does that. I'm not using my Shimoda Action X30 every day when I'm out on travel, and of course, I use the sling for that reason. So I think having these two things in tandem would actually be the biggest reason why I would actually pick up a 7-liter and then sell my 3-liter. Having the 7-liter for travel situations definitely piqued my interest the most. And there's still a lot about this bag that I need to test in order to give an honest review on it. And one of those things is the durability of this bag. For this bag, it's obviously an outdoor bag, so I want to make sure that the materials hold up over time, as well as it being durable. And you are going to be at locations with lots of water, debris, dust, and other elements that can absolutely affect the bag. And Peak Design also claims this bag to be weatherproof, so let's just see how well that holds up. Of course, unlike a traditional landscape photography bag, you're not really going to be putting this bag on the floor per se, so this isn't really a bag that's going to take a lot of wear and tear over time. Another component is how comfortable this bag actually is, because if we fill it out all the way with a camera, filters, and a tripod, it does weigh quite a bit. So how comfortable is this when you're hiking for a couple miles? Because I don't really see this bag being something where you're going to be taking out on these long, expansive landscape shoots that you're hiking for 10, 20 miles at a time. But over these shorter, kind of hikes, like a couple miles or so, like how comfortable is it with that much gear packed out? And something else that I kind of want to tinker with a little more is how you're able to create different setups with this bag. Because external carry is definitely more of a factor for me now, you can see, like putting a tripod on it or putting filters or using all these extra different spaces inside of here to pack it out to the fullest. So what do those different configurations look like? I think it's something that will only take a bit of time and a little bit of easing into in order to see, how you're able to pack up this bag to its fullest. Overall, I think this bag is an absolute killer, and I'm really excited to give it more testing for when I give my full review. But yeah, guys, do you have any questions about the Peak Design 7-liter or anything that you want me to test about it in the full review? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this bag. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for experiencing the world with me today. Please feel free to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.